Now, first on the agenda for the new Republican majority, they have said, repeal the health care reform law. I'm joined now by Representative-elect Bill Huizenga, Republican from Michigan. Good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
How are you
Thanks
feeling?
for having me.
About to start something very new in your life?
Yeah, it's looking forward to it. Very eager, and I think myself and a number of my freshman colleagues, we're ready to go.
All right. So one of the things that the Republicans have said is that you want to repeal health care, but you have also said that the key for you is bringing down the deficit.
Yeah.
The argument that is made is if you look at the CBO, this is a nonpartisan group, and they did the analysis, and they said it's going to save over $190 million for there to be this new health care law. Is there a disconnect? $143 billion, I'm sorry. Is there a disconnect there? You want to repeal it, even though the CBO says it's going to save $143 billion.
Well, I know that's what CBO says, but a number of experts that I've talked to, in fact, we ran into each other in the studio earlier this morning, and there was somebody who was on just prior to me, who is not on this network, but on one of the other locals, was talking about those CBO numbers take in some assumptions that they don't think are correct, and so there is some debate. I look at it, and I just don't see how possibly spending more to cover more people is actually going to save us money in the long run. For me, it's about affordability and accessibility, and I just don't believe that, and making sure that the patients are able to direct that, and us as consumers are able to direct that, and I just don't see how that's going to happen.
Well, you're a small businessman. You've been a small businessman your whole life. You took over a company started by your grandfather and your father, and one of the arguments that's been made is that healthcare costs, the premiums are too high, and so that's been a job killer. In fact, there's no indication that premiums have gone up. In fact, for small businesses, within this new health care law, there's help to pay for health care premiums. What is it from a business perspective that doesn't make sense to you to be able to cover your employees?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are looking at this and saying, as we're moving forward, there may even be a small savings for a small business person, but on the long run, how is it actually going to save, one, that company that money, two, the country as a whole? And I guess that's maybe the philosophical disconnect as to whether government needs to be the one that's directing this and delivering that, or whether it needs to be the private sector doing that. And that's a legitimate philosophical debate. I just happen to be on the side that I believe that it does need to be the private sector and the markets that are going to be doing that. Empowering people, I think, is the key to it. Look, you and I, everybody needs to get better in tune with what our actual costs are for our health care. I don't know what the difference is between that X-ray, that CAT scan, or that MRI. All I know is I pull out my Blue Cross Blue Shield card, and here's my copay. And guess what? I've got a brother-in-law who's a doctor as well. He's actually practiced here at Walter Reed locally. And there is so much cover your rear kind of medicine that's being practiced. Oftentimes people are going and getting that additional step done when it maybe isn't necessary, or getting the purple pill just because of the advertising.
So really quickly, does it make sense to make your first priority to repeal health care when you know that the democratically controlled Senate is not going to do it, and even if they did, the White House is going to veto it? Really quickly.
Well, I think that's probably safe assumptions, Chris, that is going to happen. But if this Republican majority doesn't come in and do what it says it was going to do on the campaign trail, and that includes me, then we're going to, guess what? We're going to be sent a big fat message by the American people again. And this has to be one of our first steps as we're coming into this new Congress, and I support it.
Representative Huizenga, or soon to be sworn in Representative
Yes, that's
Huizenga,
right.
welcome to Washington. Thank you for coming in.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.
Is another Hollywood